Just going to go and have a look inside at the modern day church. Sorry about the dog barking. It is just stunning. Absolutely beautiful. Now, although part of the modern day church, it's also connected to the ruins. Let's go. Iron. Some money in the box. In grateful memory of the men of Lanercost who, for the cause of freedom, laid down their lives in the Great War, 1914 to 1918, and all the local men are listed. Way too many names. Addison, Atkinson, Beatty, Bell, Charlton, Dodd. Way too many names. And still local names. In memory of the Reverend Thomas William Willis, who was born 26th of June 1858 and died the 5th of December 1937, Vicar of Lanercost from 1897 to 1920. This tablet is erected by his sister and friends. Wow. In memory of two brothers who died for their country in the Great War, Hugh Vaughan Charlton, Lieutenant, died 24th of June, aged 32. John McFarlane Charlton, Captain at La Boisselle, on his 25th birthday, 1916. 7th and 21st Northumberland Fusiliers, the only children of John and Kate. Wow. And then his father died a year later, underneath. So you've got the ruins out the back there, with all the tombs. Just beautiful. Just look at that organ, it's enormous. The 6th Earl of Carlisle. And over to this side, and the stunning windows. Start of this one for Edward I. Edward I was a skilled military leader who earned a fearsome reputation for ruthless campaigns he waged against the Scots. He visited Lanercost 3 times. On the last and prolonged visit, in the winter of 1306 to 7, the Great Seal was brought here, making Lanercost the centre of English government. In February 1307, Dougal MacDonald, chief of the Galloway, captured Thomas Alexander de Bruce, the brothers of Robert, Sir Reginald de Crawford, and a kinglet of Ireland. He sent the heads of the last two to Edward I at Lanercost from where Edward sentenced the others to be hanged and beheaded at Carlisle. 4 years later, after the death of Edward I, Robert de Bruce, King of Scotland, came with a great army in the month of August to the monastery at Lanercost and remained there for 3 days, making most of the canons present and doing an infinity of injury. Such raids continued into the 4th century. In October 1346, King David of Scotland, coming then to the Priory of Lanercost, where dwelt the canons, venerable men and servants of God, they entered arrogantly into the sanctuary, threw out the vessels of the temple, flooded the treasury, shattered the bones, stole the jewels, and destroyed as much as they could. The rebuilding which had to be done after these raids plunged the canons into heavy debt. More and more of the estates had to be sold. By the 16th century, the income of the house had fallen below £80 per annum. In 1306, the king was slowly approaching the Scottish border with the Queen, Margaret of France, by many easy stages and borne in a litter at the backs of horses, account of his age and infirmity. Edward intended staying only a few days at Lanercost, but his health was so poor, winter came on and he was obliged to remain at the Priory until the following March. The accommodation of the king, his family, and all their household was a massive undertaking. The king's party included the Queen, Prince Edward, and some 200 individuals, all to be housed and fed. Builders were employed, John Neal as clerk of works, employing 7 carpenters, 1 builder, 8 labourers and 24 other workmen. Walter de Scarborough is taken as the master builder with 13 builders and 17 carpenters. Timber was brought from Inglewood, led by Brothen de Stainlaw, and glass from John de Vera was fitted by Walter Glasswright, a lay brother of Furness. 1307 March, they left the said monastery for Carlisle, and there held a parliament in the great realm of men of the realm. Edward died at By Sands on the banks of the Solway shortly after leaving Carlisle, and a monument marking the spot that King Edward died. Henry VIII, 1536, dissolved the priories. At Lanercost, valuables were confiscated, the cannons were turned out, lead, timber and stone was carried away for other uses, and the buildings, like so many others, were left as ruin. But a tiny church which retained an old aisle. Most of the monastic buildings largely disappeared, but the church, though roofless, remained intact. The buildings became royal property until they were handed to Thomas Dacre, the illegitimate son of Lord Dacre of Norwich Castle, and who made some alterations to the monastic buildings to convert them into a private dwelling house. Then 250 years ago, the nave was re-roofed and separated from the remainder of the church, with a wall giving the impressive church we see today. George Howard was both friend and patron of the pre-Raphaelite artist William Morris, Edward Burne-Jones and Philip Webb. Through his enthusiasm, 2 houses by Philip Webb were built on the estate, St Martin's Church at Brampton, and Webb's Church was later filled with Morris and Co. stained glass. These are the windows. I'll take you there another day too. Oliver Howard, second-class resident in northern Nigeria, born and at Bauchi, where he died September 1908, aged 33. So the Howard family has Norwich Castle. Herbert George Howard, who fell at Onverdon 2nd of September 1898 and was buried in the desert aged 27. Christopher Edward Howard, Lieutenant in the 8th Royal Irish Hussars, who died at Slains Castle, September 1896, and was buried in this priory aged 23. In memory of two brothers, George Earl of Carlisle and Rosalind his wife. Is this the cross that was outside? I thought so. And there's the fun.